Hey there, YouTube, petey twofinger here. Today I have something a little bit different, off the beaten path. I found this on someone's Facebook. A guy, I probably shouldn't mention his name, but he's a friend of mine, and he had this. It's called Rules for Sons. Now, some of this could be rules for daughters, but some of them are obviously on the male side of things. And I just thought that it was worth sharing. This is stuff that they don't teach you in school. A lot of it should be common sense. But I think that it's worth sharing. I'm not going to make any kind of social commentary thing and shake my fist and say, this is what I think is wrong with America. I want to keep this positive. I have been overwhelmed by the negativity, the negative side of YouTube. So I'm going to share something. Hopefully this can be taken in a positive light rather than an indictment of today's youth. Because every generation, certainly we find the older portion of the people looking down, saying all this stuff. Well, it wasn't like that when I came up, and you know how times have changed. And the older generation with the disdain for the younger generation's music. And I always, when I was coming up, said, there's no way I'm going to look down on the next generation of music. And then it happened in my life. Hip hop was created, and I don't like it. I can't stand listening to hip hop music. There is a small contingent that I do like, the real early stuff. You know, I do like a lot of that. Anything uplifting, I would say, but the modern, where they have that symbol that, and then that real annoying type of is it a symbol? I don't know. It's an ice pick sound. And then that like super low frequency, ooh, is that a drum? Again, I am baffled by this music. So to try to take the high road, I'll just go ahead and read this. It seems to be the theme of my channel right now is trying to think about starting to consider taking the high road when I'm online, rather than instantly getting the nasty, the keyboard, firing up the keyboard torch mob that we see so often. So, rules for sons. I apologize. I'm going to be wearing the reflective glasses. It probably looks like a spaceship is landing. You unidentified flying Blink 182. Did you see that? What's the guy's name? Trevor Beacons or whatever his name is. The guy from Matchbox 182. He's a UFO guy now, and he's got this company where it's like Walt Disney for UFOs, and they take videos that they find on Vimeo and delete the video and then crop out the watermark and say that it's their own video and take all the credit for it. Anyway, rules for sons. Hey, maybe the Blink 182 guy should have read this. So I apologize. I can't really. Let's see if I can try to do this. Rules for sons. Never shake someone's hand while you are in a seated position. Number 2, do not enter a pool by the stairs. And that's one of those ones I don't. Well, recently I had this back injury. The last time I did swim in a pool was a hotel pool, and there was a lot of glass, so it was, you could see the snow. It was Thanksgiving, and it was. Maybe it wasn't snowy, but it was cold, really cold out. and I use the stairs when entering the pool. But I had this back injury, and it was kind of cold. I just didn't trust the water. I didn't want to just jump in. So yeah, as I get older, I find rules for sons. These are rules for sons. So my father passed away when I was 15. It was basically 16. It was 9 days before my 16th birthday. He had melanoma, which is skin cancer, and he refused to go in and get checked out. Everyone knew something was really wrong with him because he had this unbelievable cough, this hacking cough that never heard anything like it. Never heard a human being cough that hard. And finally, his boss, he was a regional manager for BMW for the entire Midwest. He was the parts manager. So every BMW car dealership has a parts department with a parts manager. He was the regional parts manager, the boss over all of those parts department managers. So we traveled a lot in the summer. And he traveled all year, solo. But my father got very sick, and he loved his job. They loved him at his place of employment. They talked about my dad like he walked on water. And then he had a temper. He was violent, you know. So that was tough. It was a bitter pill for us to swallow, that he was this wonderful human being that everyone loved so much at work, and then when he came home, he was this tyrant. But the only reason he went in and got checked out was because his boss told him they weren't going to let him continue to work unless he got checked out, because he was disturbing everyone so much with his cough. So he went and got checked out, and it was like virtually kind of too late. The melanoma had taken over his body, and it started to spread. So they did some surgeries on him. He came back. He made a comeback. And he was like reading the Bible every day, and they had prayed over him for healing, and someone had a vision. They saw him healed, and he was going to make it. And then he kind of backslid, and he started watching TV every night instead of reading the Bible, and he went back to the stock car racetrack that we used to go to. He didn't bet. He just enjoyed the races. And he went back to Santa Fe Speedway, and then that was it. He got sick again. I was at a camp. It was a Baptist school that I went to. It had 26 kids in the high school, in the entire high school. It was a tiny church school. And they had a camp where the first week in September, when we went back to school, we would go to this camp and bond together, and they would have a campfire where you were given a stick at the beginning of the outing when the sun was out, and the assistant pastor would walk around with his stick and point it at you, and they would talk about fire and brimstone and how you were damned to hell, and then they would light the fire and you would throw your stick in as a demonstration that you were surrendering yourself and your will to the Lord. So I was at that camp, and I got a call, and it was my mom saying that he was really not well. My mom is not the type of person to ever call. So when she called, I was like, oh my goodness. So I came back to the lunch table, and my buddies, I had like 5 of the kids that were picked on. That was the group of kids I hung out with, was like all of the nerds, the kids that had something wrong with their faces that no one else would talk to. All the kids the jocks beat up. I was their leader. And so I went back to the 5th table, and because there was 5. We sat at the back one. And I didn't say anything. I just continued to eat my food because I was bummed out. It was like my dad was dying, you know. And one of the kids said, what was it? Why did you have to leave to take this phone call? And I said, it's my dad. They said that he's going to die next Tuesday. That's just what came out of my mind. And then he died the next Tuesday. So that was, I was 15. What had happened, a nurse came in. They had given him this medication that they give you for chemo to combat the side effects of the chemo. He was morbidly obese. He weighed between 400 and 500 pounds, my dad. And so normally they would give you quite a bit more of this medication if you weighed that much. Well, he was allergic to that medication, so they only had to give him an eighth of a dose. His doctor went on a golf vacation, and the attending physician who came in to take over did not read his chart, and they gave him the triple dose of the medication, Benylin or Benerol, I forget what it was called, and he went into a coma. And he had phlegm in his throat, and a nurse came in to try to suction that phlegm with a suction tube. She did not read his chart and was not aware that my father wore a bridge for his false teeth. So she got this tube and got up with one knee on his chest and lodged his own bridge into his esophagus and asphyxiated my father with his own bridge. That's how my father passed away. My mother was in the room, and she did not go after the hospital for any damages or anything. Now she's sick. She's been in a home that's $7,000 a month, and been there for forever, for a long time. So that's the story on my folks. And we're going to get back to rules for sons. Never shake someone's hand while you're in a seated position. That's a no-no. Got to stand up to shake the hand. Do not enter the pool by the stairs. Being a man at the barbecue grill is the closest thing to being a king. In a negotiation, never make the first offer. Request the late checkout. Number 6, when entrusted with a secret, keep it. Return your heroes, hold your heroes to a higher standard. Number 8, return a borrowed car with a full tank of gas. Number 9, play with passion or not at all. Number 10, when shaking hands, grip firmly and look them in the eye. Number 10, don't let a wishbone grow where a backbone should be. Excuse me, I have to. If you need music on the beach, you're missing the point. Number 13, carry 2 handkerchiefs. The one in your back pocket is for you. The one in your breast pocket is for her. Or for her grandma. You never know. If you go to one of these doings, you may be able to save the day with your secondary nappy. You marry the girl, you marry her family. Truer words have never been spoken. Unless you're a coward and you just blow off the family and say, hey, I'm never going to go. Which, that's shame. If you're living like that, you need to get right with your family. Be like a duck. Remain calm on the surface, but paddle like crazy underneath. Experience the serenity of traveling alone. 17. Never be afraid to ask out the best-looking girl in the room. Never turn down a breath mint. A sport coat is worth 1,000 words. Unless nobody else is wearing one. I did the tie and sport coat to Christmas this year, and I got laid into by my wife's uncle. He said, what are you going to for a job application? And then he burst out laughing. And my response was, yes, at the loony bin. Is what I said back to him. But you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna continue doing that. That's my new Christmas tradition, is wearing a suit, a sport coat, and a tie on Christmas Day. As our society gets more and more used to dressing down and wearing shorts and church and stuff like that, I'm going to be the one that refuses to break the mold, or refuses to conform and breaks the mold on Christmas Day. At least one day a year, I'm going to wear that sport coat, and I'm not going to care if, because you know what? the guy that said something to me, he had a big maroon shirt on with this giant collar, and I had a suit and tie on. I looked good. I did. I had went out and bought the outfit, and I got stuff that matched. You know, looked good. It was like, it cost me like $3. It was like Blue Tag Day, and I got Blue Tag stuff at the Salvation Army. So I spent like $3, and I got like 2 suit jackets and 2 ties. It was like incredible. It might have been a little bit more than that, but I really didn't put out more than I would have if I would have eaten lunch at McDonald's. So, where are we at here? Try writing your own eulogy, but never stop revising. Number 21, thank a veteran, then make it up to him. I don't know how we could, but we certainly would want to try. Number 22, eat lunch with the new kid. Amen to that. In today's society, if we had more of that going on, we might see less school shootings. 23, after writing an angry email, read it carefully, then delete it. Read it carefully, remove all the curse words and venom, and then it turns into a love letter, right? 24, ask your mom to play. She won't let you win. Truer words have never been spoken. Number 25, manners maketh the man. 26, give credit, take the blame. Number 27, stand up to bullies, protect the bullied. Number 28, write down your dreams. You might want to bypass that if they're nightmares. Always protect your siblings. Be confident and humble at the same time. Call and visit your parents often. They miss you. Number 32, the healthiest relationships are those where you're a team, where you respect, protect, and stand up for each other. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Rules for Sons. Thank you for joining me, YouTube. Peace.